without any delay, I'm going to invite the Speaker of the National Assembly to give us the context, the purpose, and the background to our meeting here today. I invite Honorable Speaker to address us.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Honorable Chairperson of the NCOP, Mahlangu, Honorable Deputy Speaker of the NA, Mninwa, Honorable Ministers, present here, Deputy Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, our AG, and members of the Chapter 9 institutions present, members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to welcome you all to this important event of the launch of the Parliamentary Budget Office. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for availing yourselves to attend this important step in the systemic implementation of the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act. To give effect to the constitutional requirement, Parliament passed the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act, which was promulgated by the President on the 16th of April 2009. The Act was designed on the basis of a number of constitutional principles. Firstly, it is premised on the understanding that Parliament's power to amend money bills would have to be exercised responsibly, carefully, and in the national interest. Secondly, the Act had to give effect to the separation of powers. Thirdly, any procedure should not unduly compromise the functioning of the state. So stringent timeframes were therefore set down for deliberations on the different bills. Fourthly, the legislation should respond to the constitutional imperative of public involvement. And finally, for Parliament to amend budgets, it would have to have sufficient institutional capacity. The Act therefore sets the foundation for a Parliamentary Budget Office with a mandate to undertake research and analysis and provide technical support and advice. Program Director, implementation of the Act included development of a regulatory framework, parliamentary rules and procedures. It also involved the design of an orientation and comprehensive training program for staff and members of Parliament. It also envisaged that the establishment of the Budget Office itself. Further implementation of the Act included, firstly, the establishment of the Finance and Appropriations Committees. Secondly, the process of considering and adopting the fiscal framework started in February 2010, and previously the fiscal framework was tabled along with the budget documents, but was never considered and adopted by the House, as is the case now. Thirdly, the process of compiling budgetary review and recommendation reports, commonly referred to as BRR reports, was introduced in October 2010. As the BRR reports may include recommendations on the forward use of resources, they form one crucial part of Parliament's engagement with the budget the following year. Lastly, the Minister of Finance has to now respond to these recommendations emanating from the BRR reports as tabled, at the tabling of the budget, rather. Program Director, to consolidate the implementation process, the presiding officers decided that a study tour of relevant countries be undertaken to explore the role and capacity of legislatures in the budget processes, and specifically the function of agencies established to assist and advise members. We undertook the study tours in 2010 and 2011 to the following countries: Kenya, Germany, Sweden, Republic of Korea, and Japan. The study tours have largely revealed that while pursuing a common objective, namely the exercise of effective oversight of state finances different countries have modeled their budget offices in a manner that suits a country's specific requirements. Essentially, this means that there is no one-size-fits-all. In order to achieve this goal, the presiding officers agreed that there is a need to first develop a model and the necessary processes and procedures for the functioning of the budget office. In this regard, as you are aware, we requested the Development Bank of Southern Africa, the DBSA, to second Professor Jahed to assist Parliament in this work. His key responsibility included, amongst others, to liaise with the standing, select, and portfolio committees of Parliament to assess their needs and make recommendations on the possible capacity and organization of the budget office. Two, to engage with other support services in Parliament to assess functions and make recommendations on the complementarity roles of the budget office. It was also deemed necessary to consult specialists from organizations such as the Financial and Fiscal Commission and the National Treasury. And three, advise Parliament on the content of performance contract of the Director of the Parliamentary Budget Office. Four, liaise with other parliaments internationally and other agencies to learn about best practice. And finally, compile a full report on activities and recommendations upon completion of operations. Program Director, I am proud to announce that Parliament is in the advanced stages of establishing the Parliamentary Budget Office. Professor Jahed will elaborate in his presentation on the work thus far completed towards the establishment of this office. The Budget Office is a relatively new phenomenon in the world and in Africa in particular. For this reason, we considered it important to do a media launch to introduce the concept in a way that will afford access to the general public to ensure that we start a national discussion on the matter. This, we believe, will build interest, enable substantive national engagement, and empower our people with information. Program Director, various considerations have been made to arrive at the functions of the Budget Office. Indeed, primarily, they have been informed by the Act, which outlines functions for the office as well as international observations, best practices, and our own unique requirements. In addition to the functions outlined by the Act, the Budget Office should continuously build the capacity of members to engage in economic and budget issues through regular training and workshops to ensure that their work in overseeing the budget is much more effective. It is a function, it is a fact that functions that determine the structure of any given body. And this is, of course, also true for the Budget Office. At the initial phase, it is proposed that Parliament should consider putting in place a structure consisting of 12 people. Again, Professor Jahed will, in his presentation, elaborate on this. This structure will make available technical support while allowing space for the identification of areas of improvement. It is envisaged that the structure could be in place for a period ranging from between 12 and 24 months, after which it would be reviewed and expanded to accommodate all select and portfolio committees. While Parliament could choose to implement a full structure from the start, the preferred option, our preferred option, would be to phase in the implementation of the structure with the intention to ensure an effective outcome. The office will start by providing support to the Finance and Appropriations Committees of Parliament. Once efficient systems have been put in place and areas of improvement identified, the office will extend its services to all portfolio and select committees. The incremental approach will ensure that relevant services and appropriate processes are developed and refined through practice and experience when doing this work. In conclusion, our ultimate goal with all the processes we undertook and the proposals subsequently developed is to ensure that we establish the necessary institutional machinery to assist us as parliamentarians to carry out our work more effectively and efficiently with regard to oversight of the budget and to ensure that we meet the expectations of our parliament and our constitutional imperatives. I thank you, Program Director.
Speaker, thank you very much for that presentation.